Let's be totally real for a second. If you are in the sales industry right now, you are probably just exhausted. There is this deep, palpable frustration out there and frankly, a quiet crisis unfolding across sales floors everywhere. We are seeing top performers burning out, mid-tier reps drowning, just trying to keep their heads above water, and leaders sitting there wondering where it all went off the rails. Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving into a breakdown of your sales mind, an entirely new framework that tackles this exact exhaustion. Because when we look at the hard data, we have to admit, as an industry, we're just not getting it right. But more importantly, we are going to outline the actual tangible fix for this crisis. So let's jump right in. Why do sellers quietly expect to lose 75% of their deals? Seriously, think about that. It's this terrible, punishing math equation that we force reps to accept every single January. A typical rep looks at their quota, mentally multiplies it by 4, and just assumes that the vast majority of their pipeline is going to completely evaporate. Think about the emotional weight of starting your year knowing you're expected to fail 3/4 of the time. And the sad truth, we've conditioned them to believe this is perfectly normal. But relying on a good tone and charm, it is just not enough anymore. The whole approach to actually selling versus just presenting features is so weak right now. Sellers are showing up, doing a presentation, and hoping something sticks, rather than actually selling with strategic acuity. This built-in expectation of failure is the real quota killer.
And the fallout of that mindset is staggering. 75%. According to the Salesforce State of Sales, that is the percentage of B2B reps who completely missed their quota in 2024. Performance isn't just taking a little dip, it is in a total freefall. I have to pose a question here. When 3/4 of a professional workforce fails to hit their baseline target, is it the workforce or is it the system? We have to stop blaming the individuals. The problem absolutely starts inside the seller before the very first call is ever made, but it is heavily compounded by an industry that has fundamentally failed to support them in any meaningful way.
Now, if you thought the rep-level data was bad, the organizational data makes it undeniable. 91% of sales organizations miss their revenue targets. 91. Let that sink in for a second. 9 out of 10 companies miss the mark. So the crucial point here is that this is a systemic failure. It's not about one bad hire or a lazy team or even a rough macroeconomic quarter. When 91% of orgs miss, the system itself is fundamentally broken. We are throwing billions of dollars at a problem and somehow the wall is still breaking. We're pouring massive budgets into this and literally making the outcomes worse.
To really understand the scope of this issue, let's trace this drop over the last 12 years. Back in 2012, 53% of reps were hitting quota. By 2018, that dropped to 38%. In 2022, down to 28%. And in 2024, we hit a staggering low of 25%. Quota attainment has literally dropped by half. Now consider what else happened during this exact same 12-year window. Companies invested billions upon billions into new sales tech, new platforms, flashy predictive analytics, and endless software suites. We bought endless dashboards and tools while completely ignoring the core problem. The data tells us a very clear, very painful story. We are pouring massive amounts of money into the exact wrong things.
And here is exactly where that time and money is going. 71% of a rep's week is wasted on non-selling activities. Admin work, internal meetings, and the endless, soul-crushing task of feeding the CRM. Only 29% of their time is actually spent selling. Imagine the visceral frustration of a seller who genuinely wants to close deals, but finds themselves handcuffed to a keyboard for an hour every single day just doing data entry so a manager's dashboard looks green. We have a workforce that is more heavily monitored yet somehow less developed than ever before in the history of sales.
Which brings us to the core disconnect. We have built an entire ecosystem around backward-looking CRMs. The CRM records what already happened, right? It tracks volume, it's built for managers to monitor activity. Relying solely on a CRM to improve performance is like trying to drive a car by only staring in your rearview mirror. It is no wonder that 63% of CRM initiatives fail. They don't actually help the seller win the deal that's right in front of them. What we desperately need is forward-looking coaching. We need coaching that actually develops the human being doing the selling. The CRM manages the pipeline, but we need something that develops the person working that pipeline.
And here's the thing that really shifts the narrative for me. Sellers aren't resisting development. This quote captures it perfectly. The audience is already here begging for development. Sellers want to learn. They want to know how to stop just presenting and start truly selling. They know the current tone is not enough, they know the old approach is weak, and they are actively looking for a lifeline. They don't want another mandatory 2-day corporate seminar that they'll forget in a month. They want rigorous, ongoing, personalized growth.
And we aren't just guessing that this hunger exists. We see the definitive proof in platforms like the Mentored Edge.
The Mentored Edge is a critical channel providing expert-led insights to build authority and deep professional trust. The sheer massive scale and engagement volume of TME proves, without a doubt, that the space needs real development. Sellers are raising their hands, subscribing in absolutely massive volumes, asking to be taught how to turn discipline into champion-level results. TME is the ultimate proving ground that the demand for real, actionable seller development is massive and urgent.
Section 1. Enter your sales mind.
So if the Mentored Edge highlights this massive demand for development, how do we actually operationalize that at scale? Well, enter your sales mind, or YSM. It is the ultimate fix to the systemic crisis we just mapped out. It's an agentic coaching system. Now, I know that sounds like tech jargon, but it's actually profoundly simple. It is a stateful, procedural, cascading system. Cascading just means that every single interaction feeds into and makes the next one smarter. This isn't just another piece of software you log into to check a box. It's a continuous, breathing coaching engine that actually learns the seller's patterns, their blind spots, and their strengths.
To really grasp why this is a completely new category, we have to look at the difference between what's out there and what YSM does. Most AI sales tools today are just stateless wrappers. You ask a chatbot, hey, how do I handle a price objection? And it gives you the exact same generic textbook answer it would give to a million other reps. It has absolutely no memory of you. If you stumble on a pricing objection on Tuesday, a stateless wrapper completely forgets about it by Wednesday. But YSM is stateful. It has persistent memory per rep. It remembers your mistake on Tuesday, and it proactively game plans that exact weakness with you on Thursday. It trains specifically on your outcomes.
Because at the end of the day, every other sales tool out there just answers one basic passive question: what is in my pipeline? But YSM is built to answer the only question that actually moves revenue: how do I win what's in my pipeline? It shifts the focus entirely from passive tracking to active, strategic execution. It stops reps from just showing up and presenting and starts coaching them on how to actually sell, navigate, influence, and close the deal.
Moving right along to Section 2, the compounding coaching loop. How does YSM achieve this active execution? Through something incredibly powerful called the compounding coaching loop. It's a highly structured weekly system. First, you diagnose how the seller actually sells. Then you build their unique profile. Third, you work the deals with AI guidance. Fourth, you execute through a Monday battle plan and a Friday audit. And finally, you compound. The AI gets smarter about the seller every single week. That Friday audit is so crucial because it stops mistakes from bleeding into the next week. You audit your momentum, correct your course immediately, and carry those hyper-specific learnings straight into Monday morning. Inside this loop, YSM delivers immense horsepower through 9 specialized AI coaching modes. We aren't just talking about a basic chatbot here. We are talking about deep, multi-turn coaching across discovery, qualification, and negotiation. It handles objections, it runs rigorous deal reviews and post-call autopsies right alongside the structured Monday plan and Friday review. It is literally like having an elite, dedicated sales manager sitting next to the rep 24/7, ready to game plan every single interaction before they ever step into the room.
But the real secret sauce that makes all those coaching modes work is the vault. This is a 99-question psychological profile that captures the seller's identity, their beliefs, their methodology, and their deal history. By capturing this diagnostic DNA, YSM doesn't just know what deal you are working on, it knows your exact communication style, it knows if you have high political intelligence, or if you tend to completely shrink and panic when a CFO pushes back hard on price. It uses this deep psychological profile to speak your language and coach to your specific human tendencies.
And this brilliant design creates a massive compounding effect. On day 1, the AI is just kind of learning how you sell. By day 30, it has watched every active deal and actually starts anticipating your blind spots. But by day 90, it is transformational. Month 6 is fundamentally visibly sharper than month 1. Because it's outcome trained, it remembers every win and every single loss. The longer a rep uses YSM, the deeper the moat becomes around their personal performance. The system gets so dialed into their exact selling motion that the coaching becomes genuinely predictive.
And that brings us to Section 3, transforming reps into athletes.
This brings us to the ultimate goal. High performance in sales is not a matter of chance, it is a matter of design. We connect the massive reach and authoritative content of the Mentored Edge with the proven, deliberate practice methodology of your sales mind. And the proof is absolutely undeniable. When you implement a structured coaching layer that actually develops the seller, the return is staggering, a 353% average ROI on the coaching investment. Sellers see 28% higher win rates and 88% more productivity. When a seller finally understands how they actually win, they stop guessing. The pipeline math fundamentally changes. We finally have a solution that addresses the real problem of seller development rather than just buying yet another dashboard.
So I'll leave you with this final thought based on everything we've covered today. The coaching layer has been missing from the sales stack for 30 years. We've monitored, we've tracked, but we haven't developed. Well, it's here now. The question is, are you ready to stop just surviving quota and start overachieving it? Are you ready to stop presenting and start actually selling? When you develop the person behind the deal, quota stops feeling like a ceiling and starts feeling like a floor. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Until next time, take a hard look at your pipeline and, more importantly, the mind behind it.